In this video, you're going to learn exactly why. If you're a woman, you're pursuing a high-powered career, there are many changes going on in the social environment between men and women, between the employee and the employer. And in this video, we're going to learn why you should pay attention to those changes and leverage that to benefit your career. Just consider, there's lots of women who are pursuing this career woman lifestyle as girl boss, strong, independent, brave, courageous, hashtag me too, hashtag believe all woman, hashtag girl boss, hashtag girl power, feminism type of lifestyle, liberal feminist. Is it really a growing trend, right? And it really is. If you can see here, there's a rise of single women by 2030 as in a study by Morgan Stanley. And as you can see here, it says approximately 45% of women aged 25 to 44 are expected to be single by 2030. And I would say that statistic is kind of something you can sense around you. There's lots of social dysfunction between men and women. You can sense the direction women are heading in, not having kids, not being in long-term relationships, being on something like Tinder or OF or other type of websites like that. All focused on their career because they want to be a strong, empowered, independent career woman. So it is a growing trend, so something worth paying attention to. Now, what's interesting here is women are pursuing speed dating, right? They don't want to get caught up with toxic masculinity. They don't want to deal with patriarchy. They don't want to maintain the family structure. They want their so-called freedom to be a consumer, to be a good corporate employee. They want to have less drama in their life because they don't want men or relationships. They don't want family structures. They don't want the demands that come with that. And they want to be focused on high-paying salaries, to be strong, independent, and live the life of a corporate employee and a consumer. And that comes with certain consequences, right? And in this case, women here are speed dating. They're not speed dating for a man to be in a long-term relationship with, to live with, to build a life with, to save and invest in, and to have family and kids and live in a house in. They're looking for flatmates, right? So they're speed dating for other women to live with because they've broken down the family structure through feminism, and now they're looking for flatmates to live with. So let's learn from these women how they are strong, brave, and courageous and pursuing ideal lifestyles.
Need to find a flatmate basically very quickly.
I'm looking for somebody next week, so otherwise I have to pay rent myself, which I'm not looking for.
So this is the flat.
And I have the feeling that the conventional apps aren't working that well.
So in this case, this woman is struggling to pay rent, right? Unless she finds another flatmate quite quickly. So these are the type of weird scenarios you're going to see in this brave new world. If you're going to break down family structure, have an incredibly high cost of living in major cities, people are going to have to live with complete strangers. They're going to have to flat share and have flatmates with complete strangers, as you can see here.
I'm planning on renting out. I want to experiment on a new format.
Deciding to move.
We have another example of this woman here who's looking to find a flatmate. She's moved to London, even though there's a recession, even though there's a lack of job creation, even though the cost of living is higher than it's ever been. This is the type of bizarre scenario that you have when you do have liberalism, feminism, people just making dumb decisions based on how they feel rather than reality, putting emotions over logic. They're going to move to a major city with no real plan and just, I'm going to find a flatmate somehow. I'm just going to make it work somehow. I get that kind of mentality, but do you actually have valuable skills? Do you actually are your jobs in demand? Do you have your own business? What are you actually doing here? And lots of people are going to be caught up in this type of consumerist, corporate slave lifestyle, and it's not going to work out too well.
Move to London in this economy.
It's nice to obviously meet people in person.
It feels more natural.
So I started to chat with different types of girls. It was just quite nice to already get straight.
Maybe not a flatmate, but maybe some friends as well.
I think it's fine.
See, in this case, this woman, and that's the last point I'll have here, is she says London's a revolving door. Any major city, London, New York, Hong Kong, places like Tokyo, things like that, any major city, is going to be a revolving door. And it's a revolving door not necessarily of good people. You don't have close-knit communities. You don't have close-knit families. You have basically transactional relationships. People in the corporate world thinking, how can I use this other person to forward my career? How can I leverage their social status to benefit my social status? Can I use them for money? Can I use them for fame, for clout? Can I use this other woman or use this other man in a way that would benefit me and not benefit them? These type of transactional relationships are common in the cities and common in major in the world, in the West in particular now. So if you're on a revolving door, you're living with strangers, you're focused on being a consumer, you're being a corporate slave or corporate employee without much prospects of higher salaries, and that's something I want to focus on here. Lots of people here are going into high cost of living areas. They're thinking they're going to find a high-powered job, they're going to quickly climb the corporate ladder and make it, but they're being fooled because corporations have to fool you. They have to lead you to believe that, oh, you're going to be earning, you're going to get a 50k salary, 50k salary boost in a couple of years. You're going to make 100k more a couple of years after that. Before you know it, you're going to be on $500,000 salary. Now that's unrealistic. There's really only a handful of people who are making that type of money in corporate roles, and there's a handful of people in those senior roles, and you'll take decades to get there, depending on what the job is. There are some jobs where you can maybe accelerate faster, be self-employed, do things like that. And myself as a career coach, working at some of those top banks, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley and HSBC, in sales and trading and in investment banking, there are some of those job opportunities available. But if you're generally on a normal salary or on a Citi salary, which would be a slightly higher salary than what's out there for most people, you have to be conscious. You have to be conscious because not everyone is essentially making that type of money, right? So, you know, you might be at a lower level, and when you progress in your career, you might make it to a lower mid-level, to the mid-level, to the senior mid-level. You know, you might not make it there right to that top echelon where they're earning a lot of money. You might land with your salary capped at slightly less than ideal level. You might end up with 100, 150k, 200k salary and have a hard time trying to push forward and make higher money, more money, because you're not maybe in the inner circle of that office politics. You're not maybe the manager's favorite. And that's the reality for most people, right? So you have to be realistic about these type of opportunities and the lifestyle choices you're making, which liberalism and feminism has pushed everyone into, right? I prefer, for example, to live alone. I maintain low living costs. I'm planning building my business right now, and I'm planning on living my life in a particular way that's not going to mean I'm chained to an office desk in a corporation. I'm not putting myself in compromising positions in terms of relationships, which lots of men are, given the simp culture, given liberalism and feminism. As I say, you got to make careful, strategic lifestyle decisions, not just with your career, with your relationships, with the type of people you're around. So you don't get caught up in this, where you're going on a speed dating thing to find some complete stranger to live with. And that might last a year or two until there's an argument, and then you have to break up with your flatmate and move out. But again, you know, if you want to be a strong, powerful, courageous girl boss, girl power, the corporations are clamoring over themselves to hire you, giving you hiring and promotion preferences, revamping the entire work environment to make it pandering to women employees and demonizing male employees under cancel culture and under toxic masculinity, misogyny, all these type of things. So I think, you know, in many ways it has pros and benefits. Preferring your career over a family, it does come with costs and benefit analysis, right? If you have a family, you might have an authority figure in terms of the man or the husband in the relationship. If you focus on your career, you might have financial challenges in terms of living alone. And again, you do have an authority figure over you, which is the company you work for, that can dictate whether they hire or fire you, demote you, treat you good or bad. So I guess if you replace patriarchy with corporatism and feminism, it does have consequences too. So as you can see here, we have quite a very robust infrastructure that will help women adapt as single, independent girl bosses, girl power types to this new society we live in. They'll have different accommodation benefits from women living together, so they could lower their living costs. They have many hiring and promotion benefits, which I covered in other videos, to support feminism and liberalism. And as we see this growing trend of single women throughout the course of their life, as I said, 45% of women being single, and it's a great option for you to consider why you should pick your career over having a family. I myself work as a career coach, and if you're interested in pursuing high-powered corporate careers in finance or otherwise, feel free to reach out to me. My contact details in the description, and I'll see you next time.